Hale & Hush specializes in sensitive and health-challenged skin, providing treatment and retail products. Addressing various issues from occasional sensitivity to chronic conditions, we utilize key ingredients to mediate skin problems. Unlike other lines, we emphasize repairing and promoting a healthy skin barrier, crucial for preventing premature aging due to dryness and fragility. Our approach aligns with corneotherapy principles, correcting skin conditions and preventing barrier breakdown. Learn more at haleandhush.com. DMK is unlike any skincare company on earth. Named after visionary founder Danae Montague King, DMK is committed to providing individualized products and treatment plans that heal skin on the cellular level, whether the condition concerns pigmentation, acne, inflammation, or signs of aging. DMK is home to the original enzyme mask, the game-changing formula that sends oxygenating, tightening, and exfoliating signals into the skin to enact changes in skin structures from the inside out. At DMK, we believe everyone deserves to feel the confidence that comes with healthy, beautiful skin. Learn more at DanaeMKing.com. That's DANNEM King.com.
Hello and welcome to ASCP's Esty Talk. I'm your co-host Maggie Staszcuk and ASCP's Education Program Manager.
And I'm Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, ingredient junkie, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals.
Ella, we've had some really good discussions on a few podcasts about strategies to enhance and expand your business. So all of you listening in, if you've kicked off this new year with a never-ending lineup of trade shows to attend and a long list of career objectives, we get it. But it can be overwhelming and lead to burnout if not managed properly. I've been there, Ella. I know you have too. It's easy to get burnt.
Crispy sometimes, fire.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Totally. The excitement and anticipation of a new year, it drives individuals to set these high expectations for themselves. But if you aren't planning and have self-care, you can get exhausted.
I think sometimes you overplan. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, and she's like, I'm going to get all this class done, and then I'm going to get all this work. My goal is, let me tell you, we had one conversation that lasted 30 minutes. She said, my goal is 5 times. I said, maybe your goal should be pick one and then macro it. Set a time zone, and then make little micro goals, because you feel this pressure to make, like, let's say you start out the year with, I'm going to increase my business by 20%. I'm going to attend at least 4 education things a month. And I'm going to go to here and go to here and go to here. And then like the first month when you only do 2 of those education things, or if your profits are only increasing 10%, it's pressure.
It is, yeah. I think it's easy to feel that pressure at the start of the new year, especially for business owners.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people that New Year rolls around, you set goals, you reevaluate the business, you have all of these plans? Or like you're saying, is it kind of like you've got these little micro goals?
No, I do it in June or July.
Okay.
I do it in June or July because I'm exhausted at New Year's, because there's a lot of things happening in personal life too. Like in January for businesses, we have to pay like taxes. And then we have quarterly sales tax, all these things that are happening that you have to make sure you're on top of. Not only that, it's a little bit slower. You might be catching up on cleaning or doing all those other things. So for me, that fiscal part or the planning part is like June, July, because it's easier to, for me, this is what I've learned. Yeah. It's easier to see through them during the holidays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then it's also, I do macro, micro. So I make general statements that are macro. I want to, instead of saying, let's say reach $400,000 this year or whatever, instead I say, I want to make enough where I can take 2 weeks off in a row.
I like that. I think so many people get focused on finite details, like you're saying, like, I must make this X dollar amount. Instead, reframe their thinking, like you're saying, and say, I want to be able to have 2 weeks for myself, or I want to be able to do this family vacation, or whatever the case may be. it takes some of the pressure off, but you're still working towards a goal that allows you to afford. You're still working to the goal of making more money, but I think it's less pressure.
Way less pressure. And it's also a way to have a different tangible finish line.
Yeah.
So let's say you had, I'm just using 400. By no means am I saying that that's normal. So just bear with me. But if you had made 325 of that $400,000 and you could still take those 2 weeks, you did it. And in doing it, that's confidence building, and confidence rolls into the next thing or achieving more and more goals. So that's why I like the macro micro approach, So if I want that, what do I have to do? Working backwards in order to get that.
So trade shows, we're entering into trade show season. They are fast-paced, demanding by nature, and they can be particularly draining. You were talking about your friend who's saying they want to hit this, all the education. I think with trade shows, you are always on, always networking. Maybe you're going for presenting, you're engaging, you're also learning, and that can be draining too. And I think one way to avoid burnout in those scenarios is setting realistic goals and expectations ahead of time.
Also, allowing yourself downtime after. Sometimes we, especially for self-employed, you're like, okay, I'm going to leave Sunday, so I'm going to work until Saturday at 5 p.m., go home, pack my bags, get up early, go on the plane. I'm going to come back Thursday, and then I'll be back at work Friday morning.
I totally agree with that. You've said before when we've talked about this, like to work some vacation time into your trade show visits. And I think that that's really smart. Even if it's not vacation time, you're giving yourself some self-care. So maybe it's at a really nice resort and you're working in like a spa visit or something like that.
Even an extra day after to allow it to sink in. All the information that you just absorbed or just the buzz. It's like someone took all of this gorgeous things, these devices and these people and these conversations and these ideas, and they tossed them up in the air and they're gently floating down like confetti. Allow the confetti to fall so then you can gather it up and put it in your suitcase.
All of that, yes. And acknowledging what is actually possible, what is actually attainable in the time that you're there. There is so much going on. There are so many education tracks you can take. Manufacturers are having after parties. It is impossible to hit every single thing. And think about the business goals that you set before even coming to the trade show. And like we said, self-care, self-care, self-care. That's huge to avoid burnout. Schedule breaks for yourself. Take your lunch. There are estheticians that will book themselves through the entire day. I know that when I was working, I never had a lunch. That was not something that was scheduled into my day. If somebody booked and I had an opportunity to actually feed myself, it was tossed and I was taking the client.
Yeah. Or you ate real fast. Like, do you notice now that that's influenced the speed that you consume your meals?
Totally. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until like my husband eats so damn slow, in my opinion. And then I was like, oh no, that's normal. What am I doing? Okay. So I chew like 5 times and I'm like, he's still chewing. Okay. But it's definitely because we're used to like, it's not a break and we're not nourishing our bodies. We're just giving sustenance, but not nourishment.
Yeah.
And the nourishment comes from taking your time. I mean, there's something to chewing your food a certain amount of time or to being in the mindset to allow the digestive tract to move at a pace, not like a, kind of what we're doing. And also at that time, we're eating convenient foods that are not going to make our breath smell or they're not going to, that we can grab with our hand or something. So taking the time is so key, but it's something I don't always do.
Yeah, I think that's so true too. The type of foods that we're eating. It's not healthy. It's not self-care, if you will. So we're neglecting ourselves to care for other people.
My choice is Mega Blast Goldfish Jalapeno Cheddar. Like, this will give me energy.
There you go.
That's funny.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in providing results-driven treatment services? Join a team of like-minded individuals who share your passion and support your success. With more than 1,000 franchised locations in 49 states, Massage Envy is not only the nation's #1 provider of massage services collectively across its franchise network, but also a national leader in skincare. Start or grow your career at a Massage Envy franchised location. Visit massageenvy.com/SDcareers for full details.
Okay, here we go. Let's get back to the podcast.
Taking the time to relax to your hobbies, your friends, your family, set that time aside. That's huge to recharge yourself and connect with things outside the work you're doing.
I think that's something that is new too, is texting. And people using their phone a lot for business. If that's the case, consider getting a second number or something else where you can turn it off so you are able to be fully present with your family or with your friends when that's an opportunity, not having to answer on a Sunday. Because oftentimes it's just a client, oh, I'm thinking about it right now. I'm going to send a message. And they're not anticipating a response back oftentimes. But as the recipient of the text, you feel like you got to answer it right back, you know, because they did it. So you're not really off those times. So setting that up. I was on social media and I saw, you guys know I'm such a creeper, but there was this girl who posted that she text messaged like her intake form information to her client and wanted to know, do you have any medications you're on? Like she sent it in a text message because she didn't want to have forms.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the person wrote back, since you're like asking more questions than my medical professional, I'm not sure I want to have a facial with you. So think about that to your like perspective. I was like, ooh, I see both sides here.
Yeah.
I see why she did it, but I also see, she was like, I just wanted to make sure she didn't have contraindications before she came in.
Interesting.
Yeah, very.
But then how are you also keeping that record?
In screenshots. I don't know. I mean, that's a fair question, but I see where she was coming from. She's like, I just don't want to pay for these. I don't even know how much they are because I still use paper intake forms and my scribbles are all over it and stains from when water spilled are on it. But that's what I need. So these other people are using these electronic ones and I think they have services or something. Hey, doesn't the...
Yes, ma'am. ASCP has Pocket Suite and it's free for members.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was thinking that. And they have the forms in there that you can use, right? Okay, so if that person is a listener, check out that. It's part of your membership. But I don't know the other ones because I'm not into that. I want to write them all down.
I am with you. I want to take notes in the moment and mark in the sidelines on whatever my client has provided to me. And I know that electronic records is like, that's the way to go now. That's like wave of the future. If you're not using electronic records, what's wrong with you? Because you're killing trees every time your client comes in. But I need that paper in my hand.
Yeah. Sorry, tree. Yeah. I use plant stem cells, so it offsets it.
There you go. I mean, the tree already died when I printed that paper.
Yeah. It's recycled. But no, I'm the same way too, because also if you're in a room, you want to look over and check something. You don't want to get your gloves off. New gloves. There you go. Sorry. I know that was a sidebar, but it just kind of reminded me, because part of this too is to avoid burnout, is to work smarter, not harder. And that's including your self-care, the way that you approach these trade shows, the way you set goals, and even your time management. Work smarter and not harder. So is that, I can see how that person thought that was smarter, but is it in the long run? I don't know. Consider it.
What do you do to maintain healthy work-life balance? What are your tips?
It's hard because I am constantly thinking about the next thing. And then of course my schedule, because I do a lot of international education, it varies. So for me, the work-life balance is I try not to bring it home. And it's a lot different now that I'm married than when I was single. But I try not to bring it home. I try to not have family stuff at work, like people popping by or answering the phone. My mom has dementia, so I try to answer as much as I can when she calls me, but try not to let that interrupt. And then when I'm at home, same thing. Like I won't answer an email. I won't answer a text message. And I recognize that can be off-putting to some clients. And not all clients have my number, but I try not to do that. That's so I can have a balance. And it is not easy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you were saying like maybe you have two separate numbers or you're setting those boundaries and these are the times that I respond. And as a client, I think about that, like with my hairstylist. I'll think about it at 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to text and request an appointment. Then I think, wait, it's 10 o'clock at night. That's their personal cell phone. I'm not going to text. And then I forget. And then I'm not booking the appointment.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it changed for me when I got a physical location that has like a heart, like I have a landline. So that's done. So I know most people are going to call that way, or they're going to go online and look it up that way. But yeah, I try to keep it separate as much as possible. And I also try to work every other Saturday instead of every Saturday. And I try to only have one night a week where I'm staying late, sometimes just 2 a month, so that I cannot lose myself in that. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, that's smart. I think also seeking the support of your professional network. So having fellow estheticians and mentors and people that you can reach out to for whatever the reason. You have questions about your clients, questions about your products, or anything that comes up just in your working life that you can bounce ideas off of and not have that ruminating in your mind.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people find that is in social media. I see that. Again, major creeper here. I'm watching and I'm like, oh, okay, you could see them bouncing off ideas or something. It's really important because you feel supported.
Now, listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your tips for avoiding burnout? Share with us on social media through Instagram, Facebook, or by emailing getconnected@ascpskincare.com. Thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk. And as always, for more information on this episode, or for ways to connect with Ella and myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes.